spirits to appear in the clouds. This vision of Jesus Christ is said to have been photographed during a bombing mission in the Korean War from 1950 to 1953. Ghosts are often described as if they are made of the same matter as clouds, and like clouds, they can appear for a few moments before vaporizing into thin air. The soul has also been likened to a cloud that vaporizes as it leaves the body. Vaporizes. I'm not sure. Vaporizes. How do you pronounce it? Heavenly visions. From time to time, someone reports seeing a miraculous vision. These visions come in a variety of forms, including dreams, ghostly appearances, and miraculous images. In 1980, Ivy Wilson photographed this rainbow in Woombai, in southeastern Queensland, Australia. When she had the film developed, she noticed this image of the Virgin Mary and the child. The photograph was not taken through glass, so it could not have been a reflection. Food for thought. Food for thought. Food for thought, 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 food for thought. Seeing visions in cloud shapes has a rational explanation, known as eidetic images. Such visions can be exceptionally vivid, but are thought to be recalled from something previously seen. If we stare long and hard on a related surface, many of us will begin to see things, such as faces among the patterns on wallpaper, in the flickering flames of a fire, or in the sky. The human mind works hard to read what is being seen. It may eventually interpret abstract shapes as a familiar object, or perhaps a desired supernatural being. Literary spooking. People who have never seen a ghost might find it difficult to believe in them, but many of us keep an open mind about their existence. However, we enjoy the inclusion of fictional ghosts in books and plays. A ghostly haunting can be a useful device used by authors to force a character to atone for some misdemeanor. In such plots, the haunted characters usually become so eaten up by their sense of guilt that they cause their own downfalls. These literary ghosts can take on a real and familiar presence in our imagination, almost to the point of our believing in them. This may help keep alive the possibility of ghosts truly existing. Ghost basis, in fact. Ghostly beasts. Animals feature prominently in accounts of ghost sightings. Sometimes ghosts of dead pets appear in much the same way as conventional ghosts. Some ghost animals are seen as signals of ill fortune, perhaps of more interest in the apparent ability of animals to sense the presence of ghosts before humans are aware of them. This may indicate that animals have a type of ESP, extrasensory perception. Dogs often will not enter a haunted room, or if they do, their hairs will rise as if they detect an intruder. Because animals often possess senses far beyond the normal human range, they may detect the changes to electromagnetic fields that are often associated with reports of ghosts. White birds. Although associated with love, peace, and life itself, white doves are sometimes the signals of impending death. Ghostly white birds have been seen fluttering above the beds of those close to death. Sometimes they are seen by the dying person, at other times by independent witnesses, but they always foretell a death in the household. Similar sightings have been reported from widely different places, such as Ireland and Japan. The devil. Most cultures of the world have their equivalent of the devil, as he is known in Christianity. He usually represents the opposite of all that is good. Seeing him brings bad luck or death. He often takes the form of a creature who is half man, half beast. Many people believe that all animal ghosts are really the devil in disguise. Phantom canines. The most commonly seen animal phantoms are black dogs that are usually, but not always, associated with evil. They are often believed to be affiliated with the devil, but those who encounter them are frequently injured. Black dog manifestations are also said to predict an impending death. However, it used to be the custom in medieval Europe to bury a dog in new graveyards to protect the souls of the dead. Sacred rats. The Temple of Karema in Bikaner in the Indian state of Rajasthan is infested with rats. Karema is the goddess of a caste of professional poets called Sharans. Whenever a Sharan dies, he is believed to return to the temple as a rat, and when a rat dies, it is said to return as a poet. Ghostly feline. Not all ghostly sightings of animals are of a sinister nature. At a house called King John's Hunting Lodge in Somerset, England, the ghost of her friendly tabby cat, probably the much-loved pet of a previous owner, has often been seen. It appears to enter a second-floor paneled room through a closed door and curls up happily on the floor before disappearing. Screeching. Owls. Owls have traditionally been associated with death. Ghosts of owls that appear at the window of a house and then mysteriously disappear are thought to foretell a death in the family. Global attitudes. Cultures around the world have different attitudes to ghosts. Westerners tend to fear ghosts as the restless spirits of the dead, whereas in many supposedly less sophisticated cultures, the ghosts of ancestors are celebrated and welcomed. However, if the spirits of the dead are in some way violated, they might exact some form of revenge. In 1942, a man named Adrian Brooks was posted as ancestors, but also to actively encourage their spirits to appear. In November each year, the dead have divine permission to visit their living relatives during the Day of the Dead celebrations. Food for thought. 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 Exorcisms are commonly performed by priests of all religions to rid people and places of evil spirits. This could be a simple matter of auto-suggestion, mind over matter. Superstitious people can be possessed by a spirit only because they are willing to believe such a thing is possible. Just as people can convince themselves that they are possessed, they can go to see a priest in whom they have absolute faith and likewise convince themselves that the priest vampires was the mortal Medusa. Once a beautiful girl, she was turned into a monster by the jealous Greek goddess Athena. Medusa became so ugly that one look at her face would turn the viewer to stone. The hero Perseus defeated her by looking only at her reflection. He was then able to cut off her head, but even after death, the sight of her ugliness continued to turn anyone who looked at her to stone. Food for thought. Food for thought. Superstition and religion were the science of the ancient world, but these stories, the entertainments of the time, were often rooted in real events. The people of Crete worshipped a bull god. Perhaps this, coupled with a fear of invasion, was twisted over time to become the tale of the Minotaur. The story of the sirens contains its own explanation. The sirens were dangerous rocks, and the story warned sailors of their presence. And what's worse than a snake with 9 heads, of course. How ugly is the ugliest person you could think of? So ugly you'd die if you looked at them. Vampires. Supposedly the ghost of a heretic, a person who holds different beliefs to those of the established church, or a criminal. A vampire comes out of its grave at night in the guise of a bat to suck blood from people as they sleep. As a result, the victims become vampires themselves. The most famous vampire is from the novel Dracula from 1897 by Bram Stoker. Count Dracula was based on 2 historical figures, but legends of vampirism existed long before the book was written. Some myths say vampires cannot be reflected in a mirror because they have no souls. Also, old mirrors were made with silver, and because Jesus Christ was betrayed for 30 pieces of silver, silver was thought to reflect evil. Elizabeth Bathory. Bram Stoker's Count Dracula may have been a composite character inspired by Vlad the Impaler and Countess Elizabeth Bathory. Arrested in 1610 for murdering young girls, she believed bathing in the blood of her victims would keep her looking youthful. Modern vampires. Modern myths say vampires can change into wolves, bats, or even clouds of gas. They have long fangs for sinking into human flesh and drinking blood, and they have to stay out of sunlight. They can be killed only by a stake through the heart. Vlad the Impaler. Vlad V of Wallachia, born 1431, died 1476, was born in Transylvania. He was so brutal. He was a brutal warlord, reputed to have killed more than 100,000 people. Stories tell him of nailing hats to people's heads, skinning them alive, and most famously, impaling them on the upright stakes, for which he earned the nickname Vlad the Impaler. He was also called Vlad, son of the dragon, or Dracula. His behavior made some people think he had sold his soul to the devil and led to rumors that he would never be admitted into heaven. Murdered in 1476, his tomb was reported empty, and the legends began. The vampire bat. This humble bat scrapes a hole in an animal's skin and drinks its blood. as rising over a graveyard from a decaying body beneath the earth. There's a rational explanation for everything, except perhaps why people find these stories so compelling. Demons and devils. The Hindu diva and the Greek demon are both creatures of myth that have been changed over time into our worlds, devil and demon. Once simple paranormal beings with both good and bad natures, they were proclaimed as holy evil with the ascendance of Christianity. The Christian term Satan comes from the Hebrew word shatana, which means adversary. In the Bible, Satan is identified in Revelations as meaning the same thing as the dragon and the serpent. In other words, the devil. Satan is the supreme evil spirit, the enemy and tempter of man and the ruler of hell. Fallen angels. Biblical angels may do the bidding of God, but in the Old Testament, this often meant laying waste to armies, killing children, and striking down people with diseases. John Milton linked this with the idea of Lucifer, and wrote the book Paradise Lost, a tale of Lucifer's expulsion from heaven. The ousted angel and his followers prefer to be rulers in hell than servants in heaven. Pan. Half man, half goat, the ancient Greek god Pan became a model for many Christian images of the devil. The cloven hooves and horns seem to have been carried over into the modern idea of the devil. We get the word panic from the terrible fear his appearance was intended to strike into non-believers. Lucifer. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, star